Hello everyone and welcome to an episode of Action Figure Hunting. In this episode I am specifically looking for Star Wars action figures, and we start off in a fantastic location being Harry's toy chest in Truro. This location is absolutely great. They have a wide variety of action figures and some video games on offer as well, and they also specialize in Lego as well. They have a ton of great boxed Star Wars action figures on the shelves here, which was very intriguing to me, and I'm really looking for a bunch of different figures from the Star Wars franchise. You see a bunch of great figures here, some in the box, such as Chewbacca and Jabba the Hutt and Han Solo. It's really cool how these older figures are still accessible, and if you're not looking for stuff like the vintage action figures, they're actually at a pretty good price as well, especially when you're going after items on the second-hand market as well. There's so much variety in this location, as you can see. There's tons of boxed items as well, which is very cool to see. Now, personally, I do unbox any box item I do have, but it is nice to get them in the box because you know you're getting something in great condition with all of the included little accessories included there as well. As you can see in this location, they have a lot of action figures from various times. If you're not going after the vintage figures, you can get a pretty good deal on the characters you are after. Some of these figures are individually priced, others are in containers loose, and they are all priced the same. They have a couple of cabinets here with some figures in them. There's a couple of toy chests, if you will, with some other figures in there as well. They had some really nice figures that were boxed that were very tempting. I have an old collection of Star Wars figures, so I already have a lot of figures, but I am looking to add to that, which is why I'm checking out this place. They have a ton of great stuff. There's a Darth Vader without the helmet. They also have a Emperor Palpatine there, and there's a Mace Windu, which is a great figure, but I'm actually looking for that loose because I am going to open them up, so I would prefer to have a loose one because I already have a lot of extras like lightsabers on hand anyway if I need to fill out the extras. They have a lot of video games here, as I've mentioned before. Anyone that has checked out my game hunting videos will know that I do frequent places like this. This is a place I have visited before, and actually on this journey I did pick up Predator 2 for the Mega Drive, but this video is about action figure hunting, so I don't show that, but I will show the action figures I picked up at the end of the video, so be sure to stick around for that, and there will be a surprise unboxing of some figures as well. So they had a lot of video game stuff here, which is why I check this place out often for that sort of thing, and I encourage you to check out my video game hunting videos as well if you are into that sort of thing. They also had some Doctor Who figures here, which was cool to see, and beneath that they had a variety of different figures there. Here's some of the older Star Wars figures in this section here, and here's the last of the video games before we move on to some of these loose bins of figures right here. The first one we're going to check out is the wrestling bin of figures. I'm also into wrestling figures. I have a lot of those as well. There's a bunch of choice Star Wars figures here. There's some Paizo Star Wars minis there which are used for board games, and here are the wrestling figures. So here's a Stephanie McMahon in a suit there. There is also a Tamina figure there, and then there's a Matt Hardy with a blackened eye. Maybe they've been misted by Malachi Black. They currently work in AEW, All Elite Wrestling. So here are a bunch of Star Wars figures here. There were a couple that I were looking at over there, but as it turned out I already had them, and they also had some great Star Wars figures here. This is definitely something I need to look into more because there are a ton of them here, and I need to check what I already have and compare against that. But I did pick some up, and you'll see that at the end of the video, so stick around for that. But they definitely had a ton of great stuff here, a lot of stuff that I would like to revisit and pick up at a later date. I do use an application to manage my video game collecting to make sure I don't buy the same game twice. That is called Darkadia, and I found out about an app called My Toy Box, which does the same thing but for Star Wars action figures. So I recommend that. I will be using that to organize my collection and make sure I am able to find what I'm after when I'm out and about, and that I don't end up picking up the same thing twice. Here's a loose bin of action figures, Star Wars action figures that we dive into right here. And I think it's great to buy figures that are loose like this. You can save a bit of money that way, get them at a cheap price, certainly compared to full retail price. And personally, I do actually find this to be the most fun part about action figure hunting, the scavenging through loose bins to find what you're looking for. So I do take a deep dive into this bin of Star Wars action figures. We find some pretty good ones. There's a Lando action figure, which looking back, I really wish I had picked up. Sometimes when you are doing these videos, you get tunnel vision as what you are looking at through the camera. You're more concentrating on recording than you are what you're holding, and I wish I picked up that Lando action figure. There's a couple that I wish I picked up in this £5 bin. It's an absolutely great price for these sort of figures. I wish I picked up that Luke Skywalker as well, to be fair, so I definitely will be revisiting this location and seeing what else I can pick up and what's left for me to grab. But I do grab a couple of figures in this video. That Ventress figure that we saw earlier, I did grab. So that was Harry's Toy Chest in Truro, a place I really recommend checking out. They have a ton of great stuff there, and they specialize in Lego. Our next location is the Toy Shop in Truro. This is a new place, well, new to me because it has recently opened up in this location, and you may be thinking, what are you doing, MVL? This is a place that sells stuff at new and full retail price. Well, I actually did find a pretty good deal here, which is why I'm showing it. They had a lot of great stuff here, and to be fair, if you are going to get new figures, this is pretty much the place to go. One of these places that does sell brand new in-box figures. But I saw these figures from one of the new Star Wars lines was being sold at 70% off, down to £3, and they had a ton of these Rey figures. They actually had a lot of this figure in particular. They must have overstocked on it or something like that, because they definitely had a lot of it. This line in particular was £3, which seemed like a fantastic deal, so I did pick up 2 of those figures brand new in box, and I'll be unboxing them at the end of the video. But they did have a lot of great stuff here, so I did take a look at all of the stuff that they had. They had a lot of Star Wars figures, which was really good to see, and they also had a ton of wrestling figures, which is another interest of mine as well. I'm also looking for wrestling figures because, like I mentioned, I have a old collection of Star Wars figures and I have an old collection of wrestling figures as well. They had some of the new All Elite Wrestling figures as well as the World Wrestling Entertainment figures that are new, and it was cool to see these. They also had a bargain bin next to that, which had some reduced lines on there as well. So lots of great figures that they had here from the wrestling figures. And if you want to get some figures of the newer wrestlers, then this is the place to get it because they are new figures. We've got a Dakota Kai here and an Io Shirai. There's a Sheamus figure there as well. And they also have some of the more newer figures here. They have new and popular characters like the Terrifying Fiend and iconic wrestling legends such as Shawn Michaels in figure format, which is really cool. They also have some great accessories here like wrestling rings. These are a great way to display your figures, and I just want to take a closer look here at how great figures look these days with the new technology they have to make these. The likenesses are way better than they were with the older figures with the newer technology they have to make them. They have a couple of reduced double packs here of Rhea Ripley and Charlotte, which was pretty tempting, but without further ado, let's check out the pickups and see what I picked up. So what did I pick up? Well, I picked up 2 unboxed second-hand figures from Harry's Toy Chest, and I also picked up 2 boxed new figures from another location. So without any further ado, let's take a closer look at those 2 figures from Harry's Toy Chest, and let's unbox those boxed figures. So this is the first figure I picked up. This is Asajj Ventress. And this character here, I believe this figure is from a set of Sith versus Jedi, a 2-pack I think, and I initially thought this figure was one that I already had, but as it turned out this one was very different from the one I previously had, and I'll show you in comparison. As you can see, this is in pretty good condition, appears to be functioning well. The one I already had looks like this, and is actually completely different when you get a look at it here. So this one has a cloak, the detailing is completely different in almost every way actually, so it's just kind of cool. So it was really cool to pick this alternate figure up. The thing about these Star Wars figures is that basically every character has a figure, so that's really cool. So this was a really cool figure. I like the representation of this character, and it was very cool to pick that up. So that one was really cool to grab. Asajj Ventress, the Sith figure there, very cool. The next figure I picked up from Harry's toy chest was Labria. And this character here with a very demonic appearance also looks pretty good condition. Both of these figures were £5 each, which I think was a pretty good deal, especially with the previous figure I just showed you, which I think that one was hard to find. This one less so, but it was still really cool to find this. I like the get up, which is pretty cool. And I thought I had managed to kind of piecemeal together this figure complete. Now, obviously I didn't expect to have like the lightsabers or the weapons complete in, you know, essentially like a box, a bin of figures. But I thought this was the cape, and the reason I did is because it fits. It fits the character here like pretty well. That looks pretty accurate to me. So I put these together and I thought that this is how this character should look, but this is not the right cape for this figure. As a matter of fact, if it was the cape for this figure, it would have had detailing along the shoulders, so it's not right for this figure. So my second thought was that it may be perhaps a Darth Vader cape. This is a Darth Vader figure right here that does not have the cape. Interesting thing is that Darth Vader only appeared once, I believe, without their cape, and that was in their meditation chamber, but this doesn't fit this character at all. So this cape doesn't fit. So I now have a spare cape that may belong to a Luke Skywalker figure, or maybe a Kylo Ren figure, I'm not really sure, but still it was very cool to pick up this Labria figure. It's very striking in its appearance, and that was really awesome to have as well. So, without further ado, let's unbox these boxed figures. We have Luke Skywalker here from the new films. The new films! Now, I know that Mark Hamill was quite vocal about his character on social media, and, you know, I know a lot of people did not like the new films, and I think that's maybe a case of that, you know, fans of a particular media, especially when it's so well known, it's almost impossible to please them at this point. That might be a hot take. I mean, everybody loves the original films, the original trilogy, which are now known as episode 4, 5, and 6. And the prequel trilogy came out, episodes 1, 2, and 3, and we got these new films as of late with episodes 7, 8, and 9. Now, I understand that a lot of people think that the new episodes 7, 8, and 9 are worse than the prequels, and it might be a hot take for me to say this, but I don't believe that at all. So, I mean, you know, if you have a different opinion, that's fine, but, you know, I do not think the new films were worse than the prequels. But, you know, I know that Mark Hamill have their opinions as well, so I like to imagine that the look on this figure is, I don't want to be here. But nevertheless, I got both of these figures for a reduced price. That is this figure and the next figure I'm about to show you and unbox. I believe they were £10 initially, but reduced to £3, so I couldn't stay away from that. They have a Force Link here. I don't know if this is a variation of like Comlink, which is something that was in the past, and I have a couple of action figures that have that as well. It looks like they respond to some sort of apparatus you put on your wrist, which is kind of cool. Here's the back of that box. Now, on some of the original boxes, I used to try and keep the card in good condition, but I had water damage to the location where I stored a lot of my cardboard, and that was unfortunately lost. And there isn't really, like, in some of the older figures, there used to be like a card with the character's portrait here. I used to keep that, but here I don't think that's going to be possible, because I'm going to rip the card taking this off unless I use scissors to cut along this, and that's perfectly reasonable. Like, I think if you took scissors or perhaps a modeling knife and cut along here, you could probably keep the card in good condition. I'm not going to bother about that right now. And you guys are probably saying, get on with it. Is he getting on with it? Get on with it. Alright, I'm getting on with it. I'm going to open this up. So these are very common figures, and of course it's a new figure. The only way to get new figures is from a location that sells new figures. So I wanted to pick this up, and there's not a lot of locations that sell action figures near me. So you're not going to hear any sound effects of opening stuff. I have a program or artificial intelligence on my microphone preventing any unwanted noise to be kept. So unfortunately, you're just going to hear my voice here if you like hearing any of that. So we're going to open this up. Because yes, it is important to have a function on your microphone to stop unwanted noise, especially if your computer makes a loud hum. Anyway, let's open up this figure. So we have the figure here. There is a little piece of paper in here. I think this is probably just the instructions for Force Link. I imagine. I'm not really sure. Maybe this will tell me exactly what this is. So there's this. Okay, so there is this force link apparatus sold separately, I imagine. There's instructions of how to use it. Imagine you can find these instructions elsewhere, or you could pause the video if you wanted to and check this out. There's the case. I'm not going to keep that there. I'm going to get rid of that. Okay, so there's the figure itself. It has a cape on it. Speaking of capes, actually. Right, so let's open it up. Alright, there's that. And the figure already came out of the cape, so we'll have a look at the figure without the cape here. Now, pretty good, pretty good. I actually think this figure looks really good without the cape. So I quite like the look of that. Looks very good. There's the cape. So that fits pretty well. Yeah, I'm happy about that. £3, you can't say no to that. Pretty good figure. So the next figure I picked up was Rei. Just labelled here as Rei, but that's probably appropriate for the film that it was in. And there's the back of that as well. And we'll open up this one as well. Of course, the lead character of the new trilogy at this time. We'll have a look, open up this. Cool character as well. It's good to have a figure for this. We have more instructions for the force link. We're not really going to need that. And there's the container of that. We've got some accessories with this figure. We have a rifle of some kind, I think. Kind of hard to see, but there's that. We have a lightsaber. It is a blue lightsaber. So a Guardian lightsaber, I believe. And there's like a little bit of mark on it, but that's fine. There's the lightsaber. And we have a tiny weapon here. Tiny. Okay, so there's the accessories. We have the figure itself. Pretty good looking figure. Now, to be fair, you shouldn't be able to hear any popping noises from the figure coming out of the packaging, but it might distort the voice because of the function I have on my microphone. There's the figure itself. Looks pretty good. I like the detailing on these new figures. Looks pretty good. Alright, so that is Rei with all of their accessories right there. Pretty cool. Alright. So there you go. Those were the figures I picked up. So there you have it. Those are all the things I picked up for this episode of Action Figure Hunting. If you like the video, be sure to leave a like or a comment to let me know what you think, and don't forget to subscribe for more awesome content. And if you'd like to, you can also support me through Patreon or YouTube channel membership. Thank you for watching. I've been MVL, and I will catch you next time.